It's a nice intro you got there.
I'm your host, Nikki, and I have a fantastic guest tonight, Old Man Murphy.
Hey, Nikki, how you doing?
How are you?
Doing good.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it's been a while since we talked, so this
Yes.
will be fun.
It will be. It will be. So I'm curious as to like some of the current events that I want to talk about. I'm curious as to what your take is on these, just because we haven't spoken in a while. Not a whole while, but for us a while.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you heard the breaking news today about the crazy man at the Capitol.
Yeah.
With the bomb. And, I was watching the breaking parts where the Capitol police officers came out and said that he surrendered and when asked by the interviewer whether there was a bomb, in fact, in the truck, they really didn't answer the question. So I don't know if you saw that or not.
No, I haven't seen any of the actual live reporting. I've just been picking up bits and pieces from, other current event and political TikTokers, and most prolific J. Deacon, his take on the whole thing, the whole, I'm willing to die for my country, yet you still surrendered.
Well, I actually have a clip that I want to show everybody, and I want everyone to listen because there's a piece in here where he's almost pleading for his life. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look.
If you blow my truck up, man, hey, it's on you, Joe. I'm ready to die for a cause. And brother, you said if you could do anything to save one life, you said you'd do it. Well, you got a chance. I want to go home Sunday. I want to go home and see my wife. We're living in a free country, Joe. Choice yours. If you want to shoot me and take the chance of blowing up 2.5 city blocks, because that toolbox full. Ammonium nitrate, it's full. I don't want to die, Joe. I want to go home.
What are your thoughts before I give you mine?
He needs help. That's my friend. There's a lot more desperation in that voice than patriotic bravery. That's the mentality of a suicide bomber right there. He's come to the end of his rope. So we don't know everything that's going on in his personal life, but that's the voice. And you could see it in his eyes. He's like, I have no other option but to cause absolute destruction and chaos.
Well, so what I heard was that he had suffered tremendous loss within his family. Like, I guess there were a few deaths or whatever. It seemed to me like he went in there on a suicide mission.
Yeah.
And I think that when he was there, he had time to think, and I think he got scared, and it was like he was pleading for his life, but still had that edge of him that was the just fuck it,
Yeah.
I honestly don't know what cause he was even talking about. Do you have any idea? Like,
no,
what cause?
That's I think that's the big question right there is, I mean, say his cause was to get Biden and Harris to resign. Well, then it goes to Nancy, and then it goes it goes to after Nancy. I forget the chain of succession.
Yeah.
But there's if Trump were a fact. He's not part of the equation in this. So what is this cause that he is talking about to get America back on track or what have you? So other than, I mean, that's just,
it was actually a little, you know, I obviously, looking at it from a human being and a human aspect, I'm not pulling politics into any of it. It was a plea for help. I mean, it was a terrible way to do it, but it was, and the fact that they were able to negotiate with him and have him surrender is kind of tells me everything I need to know. He got scared and decided, you know what, I want to live. And it's obvious that he's dealing with mental issues. And a part of me as a human being, I felt pain for him. Like, I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's not. Like, as a human being and the empathetic part of me, it was sad. Like, he was so desperate. And he had been, and it kind of take it a step further. He'd been lied to by this crazy right-wing extremist groups and media, and enforced by his so-called president. You know, and it's sad. It's really sad.
It's I think you hit the nail on the head with I mean, when you had this crazy thing called empathy. It's a rare commodity in this country. That you know, I mean, even with the masks situation, where the mentality, the reason we wear the masks is to protect others from getting the virus. And if they would have, and there's always been the conversation of, well, if they would have said you wear the mask to protect yourself, then I don't think there would have been this big political issue. But since it's, you wear the mask to protect others from possibly getting it because it does lie dormant for a while, then that's where it's, oh, well, you don't want to help others. And then, so this whole thing about, you know, it's all about me. So that when somebody actually, you know, looks across the aisle and says, oh my God, this person on the right who believed all of this, and now they are in extreme mental anguish, and you can see the hurt and the pain in their eyes, and they just don't know what to do. They don't know if they've been lied to. They don't know if what's the truth. And they think that this is the only option that they have. If you don't feel some form of empathy for that, then what? It's just
Yeah, it is. I really, it makes me sad to see the state of our country and how incredibly polarized it is, and how polarized it's becoming more and more every day, you know, with and it wasn't just with the Trump administration. It started way before that. And I think it kind of started with Obama having our first Black president. That scared a lot of white people. And I think that's why, you know, when after, you know, he served, you know, he had 2 terms, he served 2 terms, he won 2 terms. And then people were just like, you know, these white leaning white power type people. And not even that, it wasn't even those kinds of people. It was just like the white society was like, all right, I've had enough. We need something different. And they looked to Trump for it. And
it's the ingrained systemic racism that is inherent in all of us woke up in a lot of people. And it's you know, I'm Gen X, so I've heard this from my parents. I've heard the phrase, that just ain't right. What's not right about it? Well, it's not the way the things are. What? That's a bullshit line if I've ever heard one in my entire life. Things are always going to be changing, and some people the people that were at the helm that have not relinquished that grasp of control to the younger generations, they're not ready for any change whatsoever. And Obama was just it was kind of like the final nail in the coffin of the old times. And to see that this huge change, a black man being president, it was too much for a lot of people to handle.
Yeah.
I like to tell this story about my dad. I mean, my dad's a great man. They're, dads are dads, but my mom told me this a while ago when Obama was still president, and then homosexual marriage was legalized across the country. The first thing that came out of my dad's mouth was, "Good, it's about time." And my mom firmly believes that the reason he said that, and the reason he was comfortable saying that, is because he knows people that are not related to him that this would directly affect. One of my oldest friends is a lesbian, and they weren't able to get married in Wisconsin. They had to go all the way to Vermont and get a certificate of union or something like that. But as soon as it came down the wire that it's legal across the board, doesn't matter where. So, and as soon as they heard that, they went right to the courthouse and they got a marriage certificate. And then my dad was happy about that because he knew about it, but it didn't directly affect him. If I was gay or my brother was gay, he would have
had a different reaction.
He would have, it would have been, "Oh, girl." But
at least it's a start. And I like how you said that people are afraid of change. That is the biggest, that is exactly what happens. Not only that, but a lot of people in this country feel entitled. And for some reason, white people think that they're going to lose something by when other people gain something, or they catch up. It's ridiculous. And I don't know if it has been, because I wasn't brought up in a household like that. And it's, I don't know, like, I don't know. I don't know how to fix that. How do you fix that? Because you have these people that were brought up like that. Then you have their children that are being brought up like that. And the cycle continues. Yeah.
At some point, I mean, it's up to the individual to say, okay, that cycle stops here. I know there are some very homophobic and racist aspects about my folks, and it is the way they were raised. And but inherently good people, but there's little things that are just, don't say that out loud, please, for the love of Christ, don't. But when it comes to, thinking that, if there's more equality, then white people are going to lose out. Right. I liken, and I've taught this to both my kids, and I've tried to voice this as much as possible on my platforms, that this kind of equality is not like a pie. If everybody gets a slice and then somebody gets a bigger slice, that means you get less of a slice. No, equality is infinite. And just because you have 25%, and then there's not even percentages. It's a non-denominational construct, equality. So thinking that people of color or LGBTQ or whomever, if they start getting more and more equality rights where they're just seen as people, nothing more than people, then that means white people are less than. And that's not true. And trying to drive that railroad spike into somebody's skull.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, I've tried as well. And it's like, what? I can't wrap my brain around it. I really can't. And I don't know where the solution is, and oftentimes I'll watch Jolly Good Ginger, because he always says he has such a good take on it. And, and of course, Conscious Lee and all, all those guys, they're so good. But at any rate, it is a very sad thing to see what's going on in our country, and how it seems as though they've been what's the word I'm looking for? Emboldened by Trump's rhetoric.
Yeah.
And they're like, wow, somebody that finally is, you know, that thinks like I do and speaks like I do. And I'm not just bashing, you know, these people, but it's true. And they feel like they belong to a bigger thing, which is, it's actually a cult, but they don't see it that way. And it's scary, man. Like I honestly was hoping that even like a few months after the election that he would hopefully go away, although I knew deep down that he wasn't. And now what we're seeing is you know, these QAnon people that, you know, they keep moving the mark in the sand, like the line in the sand. They keep moving it. And now these people are getting really fucking frustrated. And they're like, well, what's going on? Have I been lied to? Now they're second guessing themselves. They're second guessing everything that they have believed in these last, you know, few years. And I think it's been very destructive in their lives. Yeah,
it's the disenfranchisement.
Yeah,
is extremely corrosive in this situation where when you're fed a lot. I'll liken this to being in a toxic, abusive relationship for years, and then suddenly you're pulled out of it, and then you don't know which way is up, which way is up, who's telling you the truth. Is that really a compliment, or is it a backhanded compliment? I mean, is this really a good thing because it's a good thing, or is there going to be a catch behind it? And that's exactly what these people are going through. And it's sad to see. I mean, you can only be the decent person for them. You can't, you know, do all the work for them. You can't, you know, say, you know, this is the truth. This is weak because this is XYZ. And they're going to say, no, but so-and-so told me. Yeah, but so-and-so has been lying to you. And you admit it that they've been lying to you because they're no longer in power. And, and they still can't wrap their brain around the reality that is reality. They still think that, I mean, they were bullshitted into the thought that Trump is Jesus.
Oh my gosh.
And
yes.
And there, I can't remember where I heard it, but I thought it was a fantastic notion that if God sent Trump to fix America, and that's the thought. God sent Trump to fix America. And God is infallible. He is always right. Well, if Trump wasn't reelected,
what does that mean?
That means God was wrong. And that's not.
Oh, no, Murphy. Don't you know that it's a big lie it's not a big lie that Trump actually won. I mean, these people still believe that he won that election. It is so sad.
I got one thing to say about that.
Yes.
It's just, I mean, for these people, and I'm for the QAnon, Trumplicans, Trumpansies, whatever you guys want to call them, they're all wishing that what they've been told is true. And I think Burgess Meredith in Grumpier Old Men said it best. You can wish in one hand and crap in the other and see which gets filled first.
Yeah, I loved that movie. Walter Matthau.
Oh, that was, the first one and the second, both of them were fantastic.
Those were really good. Yeah, I loved him. Yeah, no, that was a very good insight on that. And for those of us just joining, we were talking about the bomber at the Capitol. So, which was a crazy development today. I'm so glad that it ended peacefully.
Yes. And
no one was hurt. So speaking of those being hurt, I am dying to know your take on Afghanistan.
See, my thing about Afghanistan is nope. And the reason, I made a video about, I don't want to talk about, we could, no, it's fine. It's fine because I still do, because I've been around for I mean, we've been over there for 20
Mm-hmm.
plus years. I've been alive for all of those and more. So, I mean, I saw, the very beginning, when, I didn't realize that when I was a little kid that Ronald Reagan was, kind of getting the ball rolling on all of this
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And then George Bush, wanted to suck off Dick Cheney. So we sent even more over there. And that's all that was. And it was just, this big profits here. I don't even know what to call it. But I mean, all it was just a really dumbed down version of Vietnam.
Yes.
And
that's exactly it.
And I feel bad because especially for fellow TikTokers that I follow that were stationed over there, like USMC angry veteran, Patrick Lawler. Oh God, what is his name? Fashionably, I can't remember, but he was also fashionably something or other. But I know. He's an Asian guy. Yeah. And he does a lot of political topics. But yeah, they all were stationed over there. Yeah. So yeah, for them to come back, and I value all of their opinions since they were there firsthand. Mm-hmm. So I can't really, say, because I don't have any military experience. Mm-hmm. The closest thing I ever came to the military was marching band. That's it. But the whole scenario, the thing that I do have an opinion on is the bullshit that it's Biden's fault.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put my 2 cents on that. And everyone who says this is Biden's fault has short-term memory.
Yep.
Because we all know about the page that was taken down from the RNC website. That listed all of Trump's accomplishments.
Releasing 5,000 Taliban fighters and their commanders, and then the leader.
And then a whole mess of Republicans saying he should get the Nobel Peace Prize for this. There's still video of that exists. There's video of Trump in a rally saying we can't be in Afghanistan anymore. I'm pulling everybody out. It's going to be all me. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
The internet is forever.
Yes, it is. He forgets that.
I know folks that have posted nudes on the internet and they regret it instantly because it goes everywhere. And you can't get it back. It's like herpes. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
It's like luggage.
It's like that's what we call glitter craft herpes, because if it explodes and you'll clean up most of it, but then 5 months later, oh my God, there's still glitter under the chair here. So it's
quite the analogy you got there.
But it doesn't go away. You can think you can delete it off Facebook. No. The video that I did, they took it off the RNC website, but they totally forgot that there is a web archive application called the Wayback Machine. It's a reference to Mr. Peabody and Sherman. Yeah. But if you plug in that URL, it's just a simple website, and you plug in any URL, and then it will give you like this timeline. And then I think most left is when it was first put up, and then on the right is where it is today. And if it's not up there today, you just go back a couple of days, and boom, there's the page back. Nice. It still exists.
Yeah.
So
it's always out there.
So if you want to delete a tweet, if you want to delete those nudes, ain't gonna happen, sweetie. It's there forever.
Any of it.
It's out. Good luck getting it out there.
Well, I like how you said, because you don't have any military experience, that it's very difficult for you to speak for somebody. And that's why I put a video up. Now, I had duetted this video, but I pulled this right because I love this man, Richard Ojeda. I don't know if you know who he is, but Seprify. He's okay. You'll recognize him. I want to go ahead and play this video for you. This is exactly how I feel about this.
Right. What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here. And I'm not angered over the events that took place over this past week. I'm disappointed. I'm bummed out. I'm sad, but I'm not angered. I agree with President Biden that it's time for us to pull our troops out of Afghanistan. What I'm really pissed off about is 20 years of deception from people like Rumsfeld, Cheney, and Bush. Also that they can make trillions of dollars for their good buddies at Halliburton, Brown and Root, and Boeing. President Biden is right. We would be looking at the same scenario if we waited 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. We cannot continue fighting for people that lack the will to fight for themselves. There is a lot of blood on people's hands, ladies and gentlemen, but it's not President Biden. Sappers clear the way, airborne all.
Yeah, I've watched a couple of his videos, and yeah, he's spot on.
Spot on. And it was always about the money.
Yeah.
These private contractors cleaned up. Cleaned up.
The only silver lining in this cloud is that Rumsfeld couldn't take it with him.
Mm-hmm. That is a silver lining.
Let me. This the
well,
smallest
Cheney
violin.
couldn't either.
I think
Cheney's dead. Yeah.
Is he?
Cheney's dead. I swear to God, he died like a couple years ago. Dick Cheney's dead.
Oh, he's 80 years old.
No, he's still alive.
Yes.
Shit. Are you sure?
I hand to God.
Oh my God. I feel like I'm on an episode of Gilmore Girls.
No, I just
still alive.
Yeah. I just Google it because Google is a free fucking service.
Why did I think he died?
Well, I mean,
I thought he'd been dead for like 5 years.
Well, I mean, when you're talking like the penguin, I mean, you can't move your neck, and you're moving like this all the time. I mean, yeah, I mean, somebody dropped the strings a long time on his marionette. So is he still alive? I don't hear him talking anymore. It's just his daughter. And now they're giving Liz so much shit for actually being upfront and an actual core Republican. I mean,
we need more people. The Republican Party needs more Liz Cheneys and
more Liz. I never thought I'd like Mitt Romney, and then this shit happened, and then I'm like, oh my God, he's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Eric thought he was dead too. Thank you, Eric. Sorry, Eric. You're on the wrong side with me. It sucks being over here.
I mean, and Adam Kinzinger's too. Yes. What Goofy Redhead
Adam
said,
Kinzinger.
Yeah.
Kinzinger, or however you say it. Absolutely. I mean, they stood up against their own party for the greater good and for what was right. And I applaud them for that.
Yeah. And that's why all of us are saying that the GOP is dead. I mean, these three individuals are actual Republicans. I mean, I remember when they would reach across the aisle. It wasn't like it wasn't Dems versus Republicans. It was just two schools of thought. It was just two schools of thought, both fighting for the greater good. And now it's just become a demented episode of Family Feud.
They're pulling away from the center and going more to the extreme on either side.
Well, actually, I saw a chart. Actually, I'm going to have to disagree just half on that one. I can't remember where I saw it, but it's the right that's actually getting.
Oh, they've gone way extreme.
Yeah, they've gone so far over. They're starting to come back around and reach over.
They're going to fall off that flat Earth.
Yeah, that's oh no! Stop! It's the stop! No! Oh, you're gone. They're over. Okay, never mind. What were we talking about? Yeah, as I saw this graph and I can't remember where I saw it. I wish I could call it back up. But the Democrats and liberals and progressives, they've been getting a little farther left. But where they stand now is where Republicans were back in the 60s and 70s. The Republicans now are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? So
they want to take everybody's rights away from them if they're not rich white men.
Yeah. And
that's, I mean, plain and simple.
Yep. And I might not be rich, but I'm a white man. And that's why I use my platform the way I do, because unfortunately, it is my privilege. And I just, he's
you
white
wouldn't even
and he's a
think
male.
about it.
Huh?
Yeah, I mean, people don't even think about the privilege that they have. I never thought about my privilege as a white person until I was older. That like and it was funny. My husband and I were walking yesterday, and we always have these great conversations. And I was telling him, like, when I play golf, I'll play from the white tees or the silver tees. Like, I don't ever play from the red because I hit the ball far. Yeah, and I'm like, I feel like I shouldn't be there. And he can't wrap his mind around the like me, you know, if I go up against somebody, because I learned playing golf with men always. I never played a round of golf with a woman. I just don't know anybody that plays. And so I would just always play from the whites because they'd either play from the blues or the whites. And I'm like, I'm not going to slow you guys down to go play from a third tee. So I just always played from the whites. And I'm like, but for me, I know how I can hit the ball long. And if I have a guy that's playing with me and I know I can hit as far as he can, I want to play from an equal playing ground. Yeah. So I know if I go to the red tee and I beat him, in the back of their mind, they're thinking, well, she played from the red, you know? And I know my husband's like, no, they don't. I'm like, yes, they do. So I want to beat somebody fair and square from their, you know, from their spot. Not for mine. So I mean, it's a crazy thing, but it's a woman thing. And you ask any strong woman out there and they think just like I do when it comes to that. I can do it.
The only reason I play from the red tees is because there's not a windmill in front of me that I need to get it through so I can get a free scoop of ice cream. I can't even tell you the last time I played golf. And
oh my gosh.
Oh, that's the only useful. I only have two useful clubs in my bag, and that's the 5-iron and my putter. I'm good up close.
Suck it.
And I suck at driving, but when I'm on the fairway, I don't care how close I am to the green. I will use the 5-iron every single time, even if I'm in the sand, if I'm in the rough, if I'm just chipping up. 5-iron, 5-iron, 5-iron. Because that's the only club that I'm comfortable with.
You are so funny. Oh my gosh. I love it. 5-iron, 5-iron. Just go play par threes.
Yeah, you'll be fine. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I play, I know we're getting off on a tangent here, but when I play, like I'm usually so good. My long game is I can, you know, reach the a lot of times in 2, I can reach the green. Yeah. And then, or if I'm just off the green, sometimes my short game, like just trying to up and down, and then I'd get on there and I 3-putt and I'm like, yeah, I just blew like a par shot. And now I have like a double bogey. Yeah. Like, drives me nuts. So I'm working on my putting right now. And
I can't remember where I first noticed that I have white privilege, but after I noticed it, it's kind of like pulling back the veil. Almost. It's almost like, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. You've seen it. You can't unsee it. And that's, I'm just like, okay. So just because I'm not experiencing it myself, that doesn't mean that it's not happening. I had a conversation with my dad a long time ago about, there's a lot of people that are, really, coming under hard times because they have managers that are, just, being slave drivers, just treating them poorly. And then my dad started taking offense and said, well, I was a manager and I never did that to my employees. I'm like, that's because you didn't see it and you didn't do it. Just because you're not seeing it with your own eyes doesn't mean it's not happening. I mean, I held my hand behind his back and I said, how many fingers am I holding up? And he said, I don't know. I can't see it exactly. Just because you can't see that I'm holding up 2 fingers doesn't mean that I'm not holding up 2 fingers. And then he says, that's actually a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, I think there are a lot of great creators out there and a lot of great media people that have been so wonderful about explaining white privilege and what it means. And actually people are aware of it now, where growing up, you didn't think about that as a kid. And, But anyway, I want to move on to something that, you know, I talk about weekly, daily sometimes, and that's COVID and what's going on with the, you've got young children. And so let me ask you, what is their school district? Now, are they going to be going to school?
I believe they're going to be going into person.
Okay.
There is no statewide mask mandate.
Same.
But we have told both the kids, you're wearing your masks.
Yes. What about the school district? Did they say whether there was a mask mandate? I
can't remember. And we did get notification of something. I just can't remember off the top of my head.
Okay.
We have a Republican legislature here in Wisconsin. We have a Democratic governor who's a former educator, so he gets it.
Yeah.
He doesn't want students to be sick. He gets it. The Republican legislature is a bunch of jackwagon assholes that have their heads so far up their ass they can see what they had for breakfast last Tuesday. There's a couple of them that as soon as they open up their mouth, it's just and every 4th of July we'll see like the state assemblyman who's like a Republican will come by, he'll be waving, and there'll be a throng of boos, and he'll just keep on walking by. But that's the problem, is all through the pandemic, Governor Evers would say, okay, mask mandate. We need to curb the pandemic. And then his mandates lasted for 60 days. And then as soon as that 60 days, he'd say, another executive order, mask mandate. And the Republican legislators said, wait, you already did one. And then he just looked through the books and said, it does not say that I can have 2 executive orders back to back doing the exact same thing. So he played the game better than they did. And I love that when it happens. But yeah, for school district, I live in a red county.
Yeah, so do I.
So I don't think they're not going to say students need to have it, but I think there's enough intelligent people in the schools that say,
no.
I mean, they're not saying that we can, they're not saying that we can't, but for fuck's sake, wear a mask. So that, because there's no vaccine for the kids yet.
Right. That's my point. Now, my daughter, who is going to be 16 in September, she's fully vaccinated and has been. My 11-year-old is not.
Yeah. She
can't get vaccinated. I am literally making her an appointment on her birthday to get her first shot, and she wants it. Like, she cannot wait to get it. So like you said, we live in a red district. So the school board voted to not make masks mandatory. So I was curious. She had her open house today. So we were all masked up, my husband and I, and her, of course. And I would say it was, because it was staggering and not everybody was there, but I would say it was like half and half. And I was quite surprised at how many teachers weren't wearing them. Like that really kind of threw me off. Like, okay, even if you're vaccinated, if you catch COVID from one of these kids that isn't vaccinated and the parents are like, you don't need to wear a mask, you can still transmit that. They're saying that somebody that's vaccinated, if they get it, or, if they have one of those breakthrough infections, or somebody that's not vaccinated, you can still spread it equally. Yeah. Like that part doesn't matter. So it just really doesn't make any sense. So I told my daughter, I'm like, I don't want you like hanging out with kids that don't have masks on, because we know they're not vaccinated. They're all 10 or 11. And I'm like, once you get vaccinated, you're still going to wear your mask, and then you can like hang out with them a little bit more at school. But, I got to protect my family, man. I got to protect my loved ones. And it's a shame. And it makes me sick to my stomach to think that there are families out there that they don't even mask their kids that aren't vaccinated. It makes me sick, physically sick to my stomach, because we're seeing such an uptick in ICU admissions from children that, from all ages now. Kids.
It's the thing that keeps me up every night, I got Murphy Jr. is 10. He'll be 11 in November, and the major, she's 6. She'll be 7 in January.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, when are they going to be able to get vaccinated? When is this coming down the pipeline? Please, for the love of Christ, something come down.
Yeah.
And we've talked to the kids, and it's like, as soon as it comes out, you're getting the vaccine. My daughter, she doesn't like getting shots, so she's like, but it's going to protect. It's going to protect you from getting sick from the coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
But do we still have to wear our masks?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because my son is in a frame of mind. He's like, well, they're going to pick on me. So, well, then you can pick on them when they're in the ICU. Wear your freaking mask.
So sad. These kids have been dragged into this political nightmare.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that are being, put at risk, and shame on those parents. Shame on every single one of you.
Yeah. It's disgusting that
it is.
You're willing to throw away everything because somebody said, like the whole, well, first we had when Matt Gaetz, my sphincter just every time I say his name, it's just oh god, okay. When he said, well, now we have the Delta variant, we have the Lambda variant. Now there's going to be the Sigma Chi variant. So, like, hey, it takes a frat boy. We all know that you're a frat boy that doesn't know that Greek letters are actually used for something other than fraternities.
Mm-hmm.
But
such a douche.
Oh my God! I hope somebody curb stomps him, because it just to break his hair off, and then I saw that
like
video
somebody to break something else off on him. Won't be able to accost 17-year-olds anymore.
Mm-hmm. You mean 13-year-olds?
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm
sure he's had a lot of young.
Oh
girls.
God, I can't wait until that comes across the pipe. Just as like, there's footage of him having sex with a 12-year-old.
Man.
Put that on OnlyFans. But hey, the whole like, hey, I'm not a scientist, so I'm just gonna bullshit you. Because you're not going to do the research. You're not going to use Google. So just believe me, and I'm never going to lead you astray, even though I have I'm being indicted for sex trafficking of minors.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that people are still listening to people that have sordid pasts, that, Lauren Boebert has a voice. She's got a freaking GED. That should have disqualified her right away. You need to have at least something. Anybody that's got, their hands in some kind of pharma pocket or in somebody else's pants or giving somebody else a reach around, you should be disqualified. Unfortunately, everyone's been bought and paid for, and they're no longer caring about their constituents' issues. They're only concerned with their own pocketbooks.
I'm glad that you said that. You saw the Regeneron stock?
Yes, I did.
For those that are watching, it was Governor Abbott, DeSantis, and Rand Paul. They all have stock, or their wives have stock in Regeneron. So they're sitting there with a vested interest in your illness, hoping that you go to the hospital because that's only good for them. It makes sense now, doesn't it? Because I remember sitting here like, why are they doing this? All these fuckers are vaccinated. You know what I mean? But they're pushing that anti-mask agenda, the anti-vaccine. And it's like, why? I don't understand. Well, this makes perfect sense because you have a dollar amount attached to you.
The money trail never lies. It never lies. And Rand Paul is about as useless as goose shit on a pump handle. The audio clip of 2021, and everyone should just have this one clip and just put it on constant repeat It's of Dr. Anthony Fauci saying, honestly, you don't know what you're talking. And he does the head shake too, and that just gave me life. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I want to make it official. You do not know what you are talking about.
Yeah.
And you just saw his curly hair just get more frizzled and.
Yeah, he is a despicable human being. It's incredible. I remember growing up, and there were despicable politicians here and there. You know, it is just like oh my God, it's like you're not enough of a scumbag. You can't be, here. I mean, that's what it's like.
I honestly believe that it's because of the internet we know more of our politicians are scumbags.
True.
I mean, we didn't find out that Nixon was such a crook until it was all over the Washington Post.
Mm-hmm.
And then we didn't, I mean, some people still don't realize that Ronald Reagan was as horrible as he was. I mean, I grew up thinking, oh, he likes jelly beans. I like him a lot. He used to be an actor. I like him a lot. And I mean, back in the 80s, everyone was so busy just making money. No one gave a shit. That was the whole thing in the 80s. It was all about opulence and wealth and just, oh, I need 5 Lamborghinis and I need a DeLorean that goes back to 1955. That's no one cared about anything else. And then the 90s hit, and then somebody gave us the word political correctness, and then we started to wake up a little bit. And then Al Gore claimed that he invented the internet, and then AOL came on, and then we started getting Google and YouTube, and then social media platforms with Facebook and Twitter and all this, and then everyone started seeing this person said this 10 years ago. Holy shit, how did I not know about this? And everything that everybody says is all over the world in a moment's notice now. So if you say the N-word at 5 o'clock on a Wednesday, 5:01 that same day, you're getting fired from your job because your boss found out about it on Facebook. I love it.
Yeah. I think that it's that transparency. And, here's the thing. I think there's a fine line to anything and to everything that, with great things and great information also comes the bad side of it, where misinformation is just thrown around, and it is so incredibly dangerous. And with this whole election, that proves that point perfectly. It's like you can throw a conspiracy theory out there, or some crazy person can start a cult like QAnon and get so many followers like that. It's scary.
If the FCC actually wanted to do some good in this world, rather than say, hey, we're going to take away your internet unless you're really paying for it, and then you get premium services, that whole bullshit, I'm glad that's over and done with. We don't have to worry about that anymore. But if they actually wanted to tell the rest of the world that, okay, you know what, we're just going to do away with television censoring. Because people swear all the time on social media or on YouTube or this, that. I mean, in other countries, you could go on prime time and you'll see topless women all over the place. We were founded by Puritans, so we're going to be inherently prudish.
I would love to see Rachel Maddow be able to drop the F-bomb every now and then. How great. And Nicole Wallace, that would be fantastic.
That would be and you're not going to believe what that fucker Rand Paul said today. Oh, I just got a colossal chubby off of that, Rachel. Thank you so much. But they pull all of the censoring and all that regulations from television and radio, and then they put all of that money, all of that effort into just policing the information that is spread. They have an agency for Twitter, an agency for Facebook, an agency for what have you, and they just and they have thousands upon thousands of agents just looking through all these tweets and fact checking everything, and then just putting a big red stamp on it. I love if you get there's a plugin for Twitter. I think it's called Sentinel Bot. But if you install this on your desktop web browser for Twitter, it'll basically tell you how reliable the
sources,
the tweet from this account is probably going to be. Now, because it was just flagging Donald Trump shit before it was all taken down. It was like he was like at 15,
Ryan told
12%.
Me about that.
Yeah, I think I got it from him.
Yeah,
I just plugged it in, and then I started using it. I started, said, well, how truthful am I? And I'm like, oh, I'm only at 65, but oh yeah, that's right. I do like to make up stories once in a while, but it's for humorous purposes. I really wasn't in the Soviet gulag, but it was a funny story. So,
we have a storm rolling in.
If we were able to, apply all of that technology and, just that energy into just fact checking ourselves. Think about just the quality, not so much the quantity of information that's getting sent out, but the quality of information that's getting sent out.
Yes.
And that would shut down folks like OAN and Newsmax and Fox News and all these right-winger conspiracy. I mean, it would definitely shut down Alex Jones. It would
that fucker needs to go to jail.
It would put him in a van down by the river. And I would love to see that. But yeah, it's more if we could start investing more in the quality of the information that's getting put out rather than the quantity, then it would definitely hold to account a lot of these people that are running our government, that are really fucking things up, because like what DeSantis and Rand Paul and Greg Abbott are doing, well, we're going to invest in this medicine. So fuck if you guys get sick, go to the hospital. You're actually
pushing for people to get sick. That's the thing. And Integrity Act, who is David Clayton Reddy, who is one of my friends, brilliant guy. I had duetted him, and he was talking, and he showed us like the stock, and this is
I saw that one.
It is human. What is it? Human rights violations. That they should be brought up on charges for human rights violations. Absolutely. Won't ever happen, but
crimes against humanity. I mean,
crimes against humanity. That's what he said.
It's if the UN and NATO or United Nations, they want to actually do a real big flex, bring all these lawmakers and the Trump organization and everyone who's pushed hydrochloroquine and Regeneron and
or something.
Yeah, and any of these, instead of investing in your people, you've been investing in companies, and you are killing your citizens.
Yep.
And it's a direct violation of human rights, and this council finds you guilty.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Throw them off the edge of the flat earth.
We have now become the country of no accountability.
No, we have. We're a complete joke.
So I want to put up something here, because this is really important, and then I want to get to the questions.
Yeah,
and we'll do those quick. All right. So here we go.
Yeah.
Hollywood happenings. Just a reminder: vote no on the the recall.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about this, you guys. If you live in California, do not be complacent. You need to vote no. People are confused on the ballot where it says vote yes or no. When you vote no, you're voting yes to keep Gavin Newsom in. So vote no. You don't need to do anything on the bottom. Yep. It says fill in what you don't need to, just leave it blank. I know it's hard to do, but I was in a meeting yesterday about this with some of Gavin Newsom's people, and they said just leave it blank. So I just wanted to make that clear, and I will reiterate that at the end. But let's get on to some questions for Murphy here. Let's get to know Murphy a little bit. Okay, shit. So when did you start on TikTok?
I started June of 2020. My original account was Old Man Murphy 76, and then I got to 36,000 followers. Nice. And then my account was permabanned I don't yet remember that.
Yeah, I tried to help you out.
And then I couldn't get it back, so I started all over with Old Man Murphy _76. And when I surpassed that 36,000, I said, "What old account?" Currently, I'm creeping up on
170 something, right?
170 and change. 171, 171.7. I was at 168.5 this morning, so I'm just like, what? I can't wrap my brain. I really can't. So I mean, if you guys follow me on TikTok, thank you so much. I never
awesome.
would have thought, and I made a promise when I hit 200,000.
I remember.
All of this is going full silver fox. So
my husband's a silver fox.
Yeah.
I love it. Let it go. Let it go.
It's not that it's colored. It's just starting on the temples. I mean, this is all natural. This is, you can see it mixed in there a little bit.
Yeah.
But
silver's good.
That's all natural. And I'm just like, will my hair finally just drop the other shoe already? I want to, because that's how my uncle was. He was like blonde, and then just one day gray, and I'm like, what?
Wow.
So I've told my followers, as soon as I hit 200,000, we have a technical college around here that has a cosmetology school. If I go to a full-on salon, I know it's going to cost me like $150.
Yeah, they're expensive.
But if I go to this cosmetology school, it'll probably be a fraction of that, and they're actually going to care about
you
how
might get
they
purple
look.
hair. Then you'll really be old.
Yeah. So why am I purple? Where there's originals? So yeah, I'll just start wearing glasses. I still love them.
Oh my god. Okay, so next question. What was a young Murphy like? I can only imagine.
Let's see. Well, there's two versions actually. Yeah. From kindergarten and first half of first grade, I was very was extroverted. And I was flamboyant is a word. I know it gets mixed in with homosexuals, but I was just, hey!
You can be flamboyant and not gay.
Yeah. So, that's the only word that came to mind. But I was just like I am on my TikTok. So I'm like, hey, how you doing? Like used car salesman and a game show host combined. So
nothing's changed.
No, not really. But when I was in kindergarten, first grade, we lived in Ohio, and then my dad got a job transfer, and that's when we moved to Wisconsin. And then from the second half of first grade all the way up to senior in high school, when I came to grade school in Wisconsin, I was severely bullied. It was just, it's the old school stuff, like head in the toilet, thrown in a locker, atomic wedgies. I even I even got rocks thrown at me at some point.
God.
Yeah, it was really, really horrible. And I tell a story about what kind of flipped this switch in seventh grade. The principal, this was a Catholic grade school that I was going to. So you're supposed to think that, they're going to be welcoming, and they're going to be, the wholesome, and they're going to be tolerant. And one of my biggest enemies was my principal, who was a nun. And it's seventh grade science class. She said, "Can you please step out of the classroom into the hallway?" So I stepped out, and she closed the door behind me and went and talked to the class for something. I'm like, to this day, I still don't know what she said. A couple of minutes passed. She called me back in, and I go back to my desk, and she said, "No, I want you to stand in front of the entire class." And I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And then she proceeded to tell me that nobody likes you. You have no friends. Nobody can tolerate anything that you do around here. If you do not change your attitude, we will expel you. She's doing this. Seventh grade. Okay, so I was 11, 12. And that, to this day,
That's traumatizing.
That's why I have depression. That's, I mean, what my therapist says, well, that's trauma right there. So obviously your depression and anxiety stem a lot from that traumatic event. So your depression is stemmed from PTSD. And I'm like, but I was never in the military. It doesn't matter if you're in there. It's still a traumatic event. Mm-hmm. And the outcome of that event, she said, well, we need an answer from you if you're going to change how you are. And I'm like, can I think about it? I ran out of there. I hid in the bell tower of the church for the rest of the day. My classmates were looking for me, and I was crying, and I was a complete mess. One of my classmates found me and he said, are you going to come back to class? And I said, no, I don't want to go back to anyone right now. I said, well, I still have to tell him that I found you and you're okay. I said, that's fine. 15 minutes later, the principal gets wind that where I am, and she storms up the stairs to where I am. And she said, you're going back to class right now. And I said, no. And she grabbed me by the wrist. And this is probably, I am going to hell for this. I'm going to hell for what happened next. I told her, get your fucking hands off me, you Tuesday. Look dead in the eyes and called her the C word. And she just, and then she just like backed away slowly, like, oh no, I screwed up. I think she finally realized that, oh my God, I really screwed up, because after that, never ran into any problems ever again. But you know, some of my classmates tried to apologize. We don't think like that. So you never stood up for me. Even when she was saying all that bullshit in class, you never stood up for me. And now you're in a safe space. Of course you can say, oh, we're sorry, we don't agree with them, because you're not standing up to anyone. So, and I said it again. So fuck each and every one of you.
That in itself is a whole nother set of trauma, you know, that you felt abandoned by the people that you thought cared about you.
So high school was pretty much just kind of recovering from that. When I was in college, I got a complete clean bill of health because I went out of state. Nobody knew me. Nobody knew my past. Nobody knew anything.
You start.
So I start meeting people, and I just am who I am. And I immediately it clicked. And then I was popular for all the right reasons. You know, I was nice to people. I was funny. I was entertaining. I was a good person. I'd help people out. And they're like, oh yeah, he's a good guy. We want to make sure that, you know, everybody likes him. So, and then then today I'm just an older, more demented version of that. So
yeah, no, Murph, I didn't know that. That's sad. That makes me really. I hated Catholic schools.
Oh yeah, I mean,
were the worst.
I learned a lot of valuable lessons from Catholic grade school. They weren't the lessons that they wanted me to be taught. Like, you know, God loves you and Jesus died for your sins, and you know, we carve we carve the skin off of our penises. That's the stuff that we're supposed to learn. But no, what I learned was people of faith are the most judgmental. Mm-hmm. Just because it's in the Bible doesn't mean that it's fact. Mm-hmm. When you question people that don't want to be questioned, their true colors come out in full force. I learned a lot of adult lessons when I was a kid. And because of that, I'm a little bit, that's a bunch of bullshit. I'm cynical because of that. I got, there's a lot. Yeah. Because if you see all this horrible stuff that happens, I mean, you're not going to be able to ignore it. So, I mean, because I've seen all that stuff, I've experienced this heartbreaking stuff. That's why I try to be as nice and uplifting and positive, and try to, you know, just cut. I mean, as soon as somebody just comes to me with some bullshit, I just said, get away from me with that crap. Yeah. I'm going to shut that shit down immediately, because I don't want anyone else to ever have to go through that for their entire lives. Because it's just, no one should have to.
Unacceptable. Yeah. No. And you know, it's crazy that instant, like that one particular instance in your life shaped you and now it brought on things that maybe you wouldn't have had to deal with later on in life.
I mean,
because of that person.
Yeah,
and the things that they said to you and what they did. That's terrible.
There's some other aspects of my life that I mean, my dad was an alcoholic growing up, and I had to deal with that as well. And that also has to do with a lot of it, but most of it is, you know, the just the mental and emotional abuse that I had to go through in school. That, you know, I was like, okay, this is how not to treat people.
Yes.
That's the big lesson that I learned out of all of that. This is how you do not treat people. Hi, how you doing? And we're just gonna try to make a positive out of a negative. That's what I've tried to do with all of that.
This is a good lead into my next question. What would you, if you could give your younger self advice, what would it be?
It's gonna be all right. It's going to be all right.
You need to just in that voice say that and put it on like Spotify. I'm serious. You just listen to that at night. That voice.
Hi, I'm Old Man Murphy. It's going to be all right.
You and Patty.
He's got the Irish lilt though, so when he says it, I mean that.
But you can have a very calming night. You have a very nice voice.
I can if I use it properly.
Yeah, I love it. You need to.
I mean it reminds me of. I mean, when I was in college, I used to be a DJ for college radio, and I would have the 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. shift on Saturday nights, so I really couldn't party that much. We did all our partying on Thursday and Friday nights anyway. So Saturday night rolled around. So this was Saturday night rolling into Sunday morning. And I had a 3-hour shift. And I was playing classic rock. So, I mean, like, and I was still smoking cigarettes at the time. So I would play really long Leonard Skinner and Ted Nugent songs just so I could go out and have a smoke break. I would play Inagata Davida every time I was on, because at 17 minutes I could get 2 smokes in.
Free
and
bird.
I was fantastic. So yeah, and my radio voice was just like, you're listening to WUPX College Radio.
Oh, it's so good. Great voice. Great radio voice. Okay, so what is your biggest regret? Now, Murphy does not know. He does not know any of the questions I'm asking. I told him he couldn't know.
My biggest regret, and this is it's a regret, but it's not. My biggest regret is not chasing after my dreams to make it into Hollywood. And when I say I didn't want to be an actor or anything like that, I wanted to go right into production and directing. Because I have a degree in film and video. So that was when I was a little kid. I always loved making movies. Just these little home movies that were really entertaining, and that's why I have so much fun. And that's why I have so much fun with some of my TikTok stuff. It's just like I've accrued all of this knowledge and all these toys over the years, and I'm like, I could do all this great stuff. And then I'll some people will just say, oh my God, that's fantastic. You should be doing this and you should be doing that. I said I should, but I'm almost halfway through my 40s. I do not have time, because there's two things in my life that I have to worry about, and that's thing 1 and thing 2. That thing 1, he's got the hockey and he's got the schooling, and then I have thing 2, and she's got the swimming and the gymnastics and this and that. So I would love to drop everything and go gallivanting away to California and say, Calgon, take me away. But no, I have responsibilities here. Here's why it's bittersweet. I would have loved to, and there's also okay. There's a Pixar movie that just came out. It's called Onward. It's about 2 blue elves that try to bring their dad back.
Yeah.
So I watched that movie and I absolutely loved it. But it got to the end credits, And then I'm watching the credits because I always like to find out who voiced who. That's always been my thing because I've always been a fan of cartoons. So I like to know who voices what, this, that, the other thing. So I'm watching the credits, and then I believe it said director, as an art director, Kelsey Mann. And I'm like, no. He was my RA, my resident advisor when I was going to college. Yes, I looked him up on IMDb. He went to my same college, and I'm like, there's not a coincidence. There's not two Kelsey Manns that both went to that same college. No way. And especially I know when he graduated because we were really good friends, and I went to his graduation, so I know the year that he graduated. So when I'm looking up his stuff on IMDb, it says graduated from this college this year. I'm like, that's him.
Yeah.
And then
that's so
just
cool.
all came flooding back. When he graduated, he pursued his dreams. He took that risk, and he made it. He's working for Pixar now.
Yeah.
When I graduated from college, I dicked around. And I didn't I would love to work for, I would love to be, like a voice actor or work for Pixar.
Were you friends with him? Can you reach out to him?
I'm not going to say, hey, remember me from college 20 years ago? I'm not going to do that. That's just skeezy. It just feels like it's like, hey, I'm like, like when you win the lottery and then long lost relatives come out of the woodwork.
No, I get you.
It just feels really underhanded to me. So I saw that, and then that's what clicked in my mind, that he went after his dreams and I didn't. And
that's your regret.
And I'm a failure.
Oh, no, you're not.
But there's a but. If I would have gone to Pixar and follow my dreams, I would not have my wife. I would not have my kids. I would not have all of you guys following me on social media or anything like that. And I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
So that is my regret, that, I didn't actually say, hey, you know what? Let's go to California and be a waiter for 20 years so that maybe I could get my foot in the door. And then I just stayed in Wisconsin.
Do you hear that?
Is that thunder?
Yes.
We got a storm coming over here too, but oh, Jesus.
Yeah, they get pretty crazy where I live. They're a little scary.
So, but yeah, and unfortunately for that one reason, I can't watch Onward anymore. Because it just brings back that my old RA worked on this movie, and he made it. That could have
been me. Yeah. We can't do that though. And I know. I do the same thing with certain things in my life, but you're right. It's like you have to look at what you have and the beautiful life that you've built.
I wouldn't have friends like you and Ryan and Rosie and Goddess Mia and Patty and the Lee Boxlight. And when I found out who Lee's dad was, I shit a fucking brick.
Who's his dad?
Bruce Boxleitner.
Why does that sound so familiar?
He was Tron.
No.
The original.
Way.
Yes, Bruce Boxleitner.
Yes. Shit, I'm gonna have to tell my husband that.
Yes.
Oh my God.
When I found out his last name, and he said, "Yeah, I have a famous." And then I looked up, because Lee's got a presence. He's got a presence on the internet. I looked him up, and he said, "Yeah, he's got a brother, and they do stuff together." I'm like,
yes,
and their dad, their dad is Bruce Boxleitner. I'm like, what? Yeah. I need a paper bag. Yeah. I do believe I have the vapors.
Were you fangirling, Murphy?
I was losing my mind. Because So when I found that out, everyone that I've become friends with, I don't know if I would be friends with anyone. I would be in a completely different world, a completely different setting. So
maybe in a different dimension, you were part of the Onward movie.
Maybe. Maybe.
Yeah, it's all good. Okay, so you guys start asking questions to Lee, and I'm going to ask him one last question. I had all these questions, but we're running out of time here. What one should I pick out of all of these? Okay, if you could go back in time for one day, what day would it be and why?
This is going to sound kind of petty, but that's why I'm going back in time.
Okay. Just be honest.
It wouldn't be that far in the past, but God, I was 30, 31. I was going out with this girl, and I didn't realize it until, it was all over that she was extremely toxic. But I would go back in time. I was over at her brother's house, and we were doing like the Thanksgiving thing. And I was just, just having a conversation with some of their family members. And we've been going out for like about a year, maybe 2 years. And then her younger sister, who just got married, asked me, when are you going to shit or get off the pot? I want to go back in time. You mean
for marriage?
Yeah. I want to go back in time to that day and say, you know what? You're right. And then leave. So I wouldn't have to waste the next 2 years of my life in an anguishing, toxic relationship, to get engaged to her, to lose $1,000 because we put a down payment on everything. And then they normally, places, if you put a down payment on anything for a wedding, they give you until 6 months before the actual event to get all your money, to get all your deposit back. She waited until there was 5 months left, and then she said, I don't want to get married to you anymore. I said, well, why not? We have problems we can work on. I said, well, I've already met somebody else.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, just to save all of that grief, so that's the day I would want to go back to, just to say, you know what? Screw you guys. I'm going home.
I'm out.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I'm out.
Yep.
I'm getting off the pot. I'm not going to shit.
You know what? You are absolutely correct. Hey, Jenny, what? Fuck you. I'm out. So.
Oh, can always leave it up to you to, drive that message home. I love it. I wish you could go back and do that too. Okay, so last question by Karen, Hollywood Happenings. If you were a color, what color would you be and why?
Purple, because purple.
Purple because purple.
Because
I love
purple. That's my favorite color.
And that's going to be your hair color when you go to the hair school.
God,
to get your hair colored.
I hope they don't fuck it up like that. I just want it to be a nice. I wanted to match the gray that's already coming in on my temples, and when I don't shave for a while, you can see it here. I want it to match that so it looks natural.
Yeah.
If it looks purple, I'm going to say, well, you're giving me my money back.
Will you just do us all a favor that if it happens, you gotta make a video about it?
Oh, absolutely. I'm doing the whole process thing.
Oh,
where it's like I'm going into it, and here they got the tinfoil on I'm getting my hair washed, I'm getting it cut, I got the tinfoil on my head, and now it's kind of, why is it purple? Why is my hair purple? Why the fuck is my hair purple? And then looking in the mirror and like, oh, it's dry now. Okay. It's good.
Just forewarn them, please, so they know that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not gonna go in and say like, okay, now I am very vulgar.
There's an angry white man in here. Please,
security. He's not saying anything about Trump, but he's just angry and he's white and he's scaring all the natives.
Oh my gosh, you're so funny. Oh, goodness gracious. So, okay. So I want to, first of all, I want to thank you for being on the show. And I'm sorry that it took this long to get you on. You had issues last time. And
it was just
your internet went out. And,
God. Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah. So, but I'm so glad that you were able to be on, and I have so missed talking to you.
Yeah.
We need to collab soon for sure. I think everyone would love that. And I know I would. So, anywho, thank you so much. And I also want to reiterate to all you Californians out there, vote in the recall election, vote no. Don't even worry about the bottom section of the ballot. Just no, you can leave the bottom section blank. Okay. So with that being said, Monday is the Nikki and Ryan experiment at 6 p.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. Pacific time. So catch us there. And I just want to thank you guys for always being so supportive and wonderful. I love you guys. And Murphy, I just stay in the green room. I just want to talk to you really quick, but I'll see you guys later. I am going to take the weekend off though. So you guys will see me Monday. My weekend starts right now. I love you guys. Thank you. Good night.
Bye.